It's Brian Preston, the money guy.
60s. This is the new beginnings, guys. This is when you're transitioning. Here's the planning opportunities for our 60-year-olds out there. This is the time you execute on all those years of planning.
That's right.
You become a consumer instead of a saver, and that's completely appropriate. I know it will feel bizarre. It will feel so awkward to you, but this is the time when you're supposed to start using those resources. This is also when we'll give respect to Dave Ramsey. He has that saying that I love where he says, live like no one else so you can live like no one else.
right.
This is what he's talking about. If you make the sacrifice, if you're disciplined, you understand deferred gratification, you do it in your 20s, you do it in your 30s, your 40s, and your 50s. By the time you're in your 60s, you're living a pretty rockin' lifestyle if you've done this thing right. This is also the time you need to measure twice, cut once. I always tell this to clients. This is one of those things because here's what all the stuff that happens when you get into your 60s. If you've been around and you're in your 60s, you might even have a pension opportunity. They're going to offer you a lump sum, or you're going to just start actually turning this into a cash flow stream, for the future. You need somebody to look at that. You only get to one choice on that, so you better measure twice. That's going to happen. You're making great income still probably in your 60s.
Yep.
And now you're about to go into something where your income's either going to go completely away or you're going to transition to something completely different. That's a scary, scary thing because there's a good chance that once you cross that threshold, you're not coming back to that same earnings number again. So make sure you measure twice, cut once. It's really important to make sure you get that stuff right.
I think this is a huge one. Have you taken inventory to make sure you understand those things that provide happiness and purpose at the office as well as at home? And we say this all the time, Brian. All the time people talk about they want to retire, they want to get to financial independence. And we always ask the question, okay, we know what you're retiring from or what you're trying to be independent from. What are you retiring to?
Yeah.
What's the vision? What's the thing that you're going to do? What's the thing that you want to pursue? You really need to kind of know that in the 60s because that vision, that thing that you think is what's going to become everyday life.
No, don't run from stuff. Try to run to it. Exactly
That's
what
right.
Bo said, because I think that is so much of you're trying to get away and you think the grass is going to be greener. Make sure you have a plan for entering. That's when we did that episode with Fritz, Retirement Manifesto. I loved how he talked about building aptitudes, skills, hobbies, and other things that give you fulfillment outside of what you're getting from your day-to-day office experience. Also, here's a big one we have to talk about, people. We talk about cash reserves. When you hear people say cash reserves, probably all of your working life, you get the traditional 3 to 6 months of cash reserves. Guys, it's different once you're living off this money. Your cash reserves very much, it's all individualized, so this is not a recommendation. It's just an example. Your cash reserves might balloon up to 12 to 18 months of your living expenses. Or some people, I will tell you, we have some people who like to have 3 years of liquidity sitting in some type of cash variant or something that's guaranteed. We get it.
Earning money right now, though, not sitting earning nothing.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not making 2% on your cash reserves, I mean, guys, that's easy right now.
Easy money.
It's easy. I mean, I know that sounds odd because the last 10 years has been practically nothing. Go understand how cash reserves work and then maximize it. And then, Bo, I love this one. It makes me think of you.
Yeah,
Because you exercise.
Obviously, you should have been taking care of yourself in your 20s, 30s, 40s. You don't need to stop in your 60s because something's already going to happen. If you leave the workforce and you stop using your brain the same way that you use it for your whole working life, there's just a natural transition that takes place physiologically. You don't want to do that same thing to your body where you just stop exercising, stop being active, stop doing those things. So make sure you take care of yourself so that you can actually enjoy the period of life that you've spent your entire life planning to enjoy.
Take care of your body, take care of your mind, take care of all the spiritual stuff.
That's right.
Guys, it's a we're so complex and lots of facets to us. Make sure you're checking all the boxes so you have the retirement that you want to. And then let's talk about the financial roadblocks, the things you need to be concerned about. I think this is a great point. When you are in your 60s, you should start opening the lines of communication with loved ones on what your desires are, also what you have. I know it's taboo to talk about your finances to family members, but guys, you got to start sharing at some point so there's not a big surprise on what you have going on.
Because just because you have a grasp of where everything is and what it is and why it's there and what it's doing, that doesn't mean that your spouse or your children or whoever you're leaving your assets to are going to know all those things.
And this leads to another thing, relationship with risk. We know a lot of you guys are probably cowboys. You can handle all the risk tolerance in the world, but risk capacity, as we've already explained, is your ability, just because you can handle the risk emotionally, doesn't mean that you have the years or the capacity for the money to grow back and make back in the time limit that you have on your assets. So make sure you understand the relationship of risk tolerance as well as risk capacity. There's a whole topic right there. And then a lot of you guys, you got to make sure your withdrawal rates are reasonable. I mean, that you go into retirement with the right expectations. And then here's one that's just a curveball. You can't know it's coming, but you can at least prepare for it, is know what impact, do a stress test, do a Monte Carlo simulation to know what impact would a bear market have on your first few years, because that is a worst case scenario.
That's the outcome you hope that doesn't happen, but it's a very real outcome that could happen.
So let's talk about what's the plan for your army of dollar bills. Bo, roll us into this. You can tell we've been talking for a while on this.
So, if you're at 60 and you're thinking 65 is this traditional thing, you've really got about 5 years to bring it in for a landing. Your assets and investments may still grow slightly, but if you haven't done the hard work of saving, it's all up to you at this point, because your dollars aren't going to work as hard as they have previously. $1 invested at 60 turns into about $1.35 invested at 65.
I've had somebody ask me the question, Bo, because we talk about investing and what's going on. I think some people, there's this misnomer out there that people think when you reach financial independence, your money should all go into safe assets. You're still going to have a portion of your assets set for growth. Because remember, your retirement, guys, this is what's awesome. It's a celebration. You probably got 3 decades to enjoy financial independence. And that's at a minimum. There's other advisors out there talking about how we're going to be living until 130 years old. That would be awesome if that's the case. We want to make sure that you're in a situation where your assets can continue to work for you. So it doesn't make sense to go to completely take all risk off the table. You just need to make sure that you don't lose sight of what's a healthy asset mix for you and your goals, your age, and your risk profile.
You said that perfectly, Brian. If you have 30 years of retirement, a portion of your portfolio has a 30-year time. A portion of your portfolio should look the exact same as a 30-year-old who has 30 years until they retire. I mean, just think about that. So you have to have your portfolio structured that way. And you want to make sure you have a healthy mix set up that can last.
So here's the wealth perspective from Fidelity. They gave us 2 numbers because they know you're bringing it in. And they gave you, for a 60-year-old, they want you to have 8 times your salary. And then I guess this is reaching full when you land on the sun, because that's the biggest one. So it's got to be the sun, right? It's probably not healthy to land on. Yeah, it's just the biggest planet on the rocket tour. Maybe that's not
my retirement goal right
there. At 67, that's right, Social Security full retirement age probably is why they base it off that. They want you to have 10 times your salary.
That's great. And maybe that used to be okay back in the days when we had pensions and, then there was Social Security income, and there used to be a lot of other sources of income that we have. But a lot of those things, Social Security could be changing. That's up for debate. Pensions are sort of a thing of the past. They've kind of gone the way of the dodo bird. It's kind of up to us. It's up to you to be able to save and build for financial independence. I don't know that I would say that 10 times annual expenses is going to do anymore.
Here's a number. Well, they said income.
Or 10 times your salary,
income.
Sorry.
Here's what I recommend, or what the money guy take on this is that I would like you to have, and it's really driven by withdrawal rates. We want you to have 20 to 25 times your actual living expenses, what you think you'll need to live off of in financial independence and retirement, and then you can subtract from that number things that will be guaranteed income streams like Social Security, or if you have a pension, like a government pension or something like that. You can lower that number, but if you take that formula, it will give you a better understanding of how you're set up. And then, Bo, give us a spot check. What is the Money Guy Wealth Index say?
Yeah, so again, we stopped at 65. So if you look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics, average income in 2018 for 65-year-olds across America.
For working
65-year-olds, average income is $51,792. So according to our wealth formula, take your age, 65, times your income, $51,792, divide by 10. Your net worth at retirement or at financial independence, if you were making that much, should be $336,648 if you want to be on an average accumulator. If you want to be prodigious, it should be $673,296. And if you're someone who's married, so combined as a couple, you're making $100,000 before retirement, your net worth should be about $1.35 million.
Pretty incredible.
Is pretty incredible.
I think it all works out. And then, like I said, don't get freaked out because you do probably have other income streams like the Social Security. Guys, I want you just to have a life well lived, well saved, well planned for, so you get all of your goals and dreams accomplished. There's so much opportunity for building wealth, being successful. You just have to take the time and put the resources. You don't get to be strong by not exercising. It's the same thing with your money. You need to exercise. And here's the biggest thing I want you to take away. You need your army of dollar bills to be working just as hard, if not harder, than you do with your brain, your back, and your hands.
That's right.
Guys, live the life that you want, but do it on your terms. And a big part of that is working, staying in the classroom of the Money Guy Show. And we're going to hook you up. So go to moneyguy.com. I want you to give us your email address so you can get this. We're going to email out our data table of where you should be so you can spot check. Also to see the multiplier effect of what your money should become. Moneyguy.com. Give us your email address. We're going to hook you up with some great information.
Maybe you're somebody out there listening and you're in your 20s and you hit these numbers. You're in your 30s and you hit these numbers. You're in your 40s, you hit these numbers. You're thinking, man, I really wish I had a team in place that could help me navigate some of this stuff. My life's getting more complicated, or I just want to know that I'm on track, or I don't want the benchmark anymore. I want something customized and specific to my situation. We have clients at Abound Wealth all over the country. We have the best team of advisors, I think, in the entire world here at Abound Wealth. So go to our website, moneyguide.com, contact us. Go to aboundwealth.com, contact us. Let us know a little bit about you and what you're looking for, and we'd love to talk with you.
Guys, I'm your host, Brian Preston. Mr. Bo Hansen, we'll talk to you soon.